This lesson is going to cover points, lines, and planes. So let's first start with some terminology. Space is the set of all points. Everything exists in space, and it's three dimensions. Point is a location in space. Okay, now we name points with a dot and a capital letter. So in this case, this would be point A. We have to add one here. A line is a series of points that extend in both directions forever. Okay, now there's a number of different ways we can name a line. Okay, so here's a line, and there are 2 points on the line. Call them A and B. One way we can name a line is by calling this would be line AB. So we're going to use the 2 points that are on the line and draw a symbol for a line above them. Okay, we can also reverse the order of the points and do the same thing. Sometimes there'll be a lowercase letter at the end or the beginning of one of the lines. If that's the case, you can also name it using the lowercase letter. So in this case, that would be line M. Now, if there's a third point on the line, let's call it C, okay? A lot of people would want to call this line ACB, like this. That is incorrect. You also do not want to mix a point and the lowercase letter. That is also incorrect. The next term we have to discuss is collinear. Collinear means on the same line. So in our example up here, points A, C, and B are collinear because they lie on the same line. Next is a plane. Plane in geometry is a flat surface. Flat surface is two-dimensional. Okay, so for example, this piece of paper is a flat surface, and it's a plane. So if we had a flat surface, okay, any flat surface will go through any 3 non-collinear points. And to name it, we first write out the word plane, and then we pick 3 non-collinear points. So in this case, this will be plane ABC. There's always a minimum of 3 points that we have to pick. If there's a 4th point, and make sure that all 4 are non-collinear, we can add that if we want to. Okay, but we only need 3. All right, you'll also see sometimes there'll be an extra letter that won't have a dot next to it. If it doesn't, you can call it by that name. So in this case, it would be plane Q. Just like collinear means on the same line, coplanar means on the same plane. Finally, we're going to talk about a postulate. Postulate in geometry is an accepted fact. Postulate does not need to be proven true. It's just accepted to be true. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about are some examples that will apply those definitions. So we're going to do number 1 here. All right. Are the 3 points collinear? If so, name the line on which they lie. So here's our diagram. We have a bunch of points, and we have lines going through those points. So let's start with points B, C, and D. Here's B. Now C doesn't have a dot, but it is the intersection of 2 points, or 2 lines, I should say. So that is a point. So technically, these are all points here because 2 lines are intersecting there. So here's C, and here's D. Clearly, they are on the same line, so they are collinear. So this would be yes. And now we're going to name the line on which they lie. And there's a number of different possible answers. All right, we can call it line BD, for instance. Or we can even use a lowercase letter over here, line N. Okay? Number 2, FAE. Here's F. Let me get a different color. Here's point F. Here's point A. Here's point E. Now, A and E are collinear because they're on the same line. And technically, A and F are also collinear. Even though there's not a line going through there, through 2 points, there's always one line going through 2 points. So all 3 of these together, these are not collinear. Okay, finally, we're going to talk about planes and naming them properly. So here's a diagram of a box, okay? And for number 3, we're going to name the top of the box. I'm going to shade in the top of the box, and we're going to name it. There's a number of different ways we can name it, depending on the order in which you use the points. So I'm going to call this plane, and then pick 3 non-collinear points. Plane EFG would be one example. Or if you wanted to use all 4, we can call it plane EFGH. Those are all acceptable answers. The front of the box is right here. That would be plane. And again, pick 3 non-collinear points. ABH would be acceptable. Finally, let's talk about intersections. Okay, now the rule is planes intersect at lines, and lines intersect at points. Simple rule. So if we look at example A here, planes QRS, QRS would be the bottom of the box, and RSW would be the right-hand side of the box. Okay? These 2 planes, they intersect right here at this line, RS. If you also look in the names of the planes, they both share the points R and S. So that also tells you where they intersect. And with example B, we have lines QU. Here's line QU right here, and RQ. Here's line RQ. Okay? Now they meet right there at point Q. Okay? Also know that they both share the letter Q in their names. And this concludes the lesson on points, lines, and planes.